talking to industry. We are consulting. We will be bringing out in due course the results of that consultation about how the flexibilities are working within that transition and whether we need to change them in any way.
Richard Tice.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, the British car industry was thriving until the Conservative Party introduced net stupid zero. And now we've got another car plant at risk, another business struggling, losing hundreds of millions of pounds, and hundreds more British jobs at risk. Will the Minister agree with me that actually the automotive industry in the UK will continue to decline until we scrap net zero?
Here we go, Mr. Speaker, with the same old lines, on the one hand in this place telling us net zero is a massive con, and yet he owns a company investing in electric car charging points. Investing. I rest my case, Mr. Speaker.
That well-known BMW plant in Strangford, Jim Shannon.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can I thank the Minister? It's often the Minister has a real interest in the subject matter that she has ministerial responsibility for. So I want to put it on record my thanks to the Honourable Lady. I know when I've had meetings about other things in Northern Ireland, the Minister's been anxious to help me and support me, and I appreciate that. Minister, the decision not to go ahead with the EV production is disappointing, to say the least, yet it does perhaps maybe indicate a wider issue that we are facing in the manufacturing industry due to rising costs. So what can the Minister do to help companies to be more attractive to investment with lower energy costs, and assurances that government is in support of ensuring that British jobs are not sent to China, and that those firms who choose to relocate jobs will understand that no future aid or help will be forthcoming? Thank you so much.
Can I thank the honourable gentleman for his kind words and for his question. I should be clear, just so the House is really clear, the decision has not been made to not go ahead. This is a delay and a change in timing. It's not that BMW are committed to go ahead with this investment. At the moment, their e-Mini is being produced in China. This investment will bring it to here in the UK. Now, there is lots that must be done in terms of energy prices, as the honourable gentleman says. If you're building a gigafactory, you get a significant reduction in your energy prices, but I know that the manufacturing sector more widely are talking to us virtually every day about these kinds of issues, and through the industrial strategy and the reforms that we want to bring in, and through spending that £2 billion that we had in the budget, we hope to deliver a thriving automotive industry well into the future.
Right, that completes the urgent question. Let the front bench change over. Right, we now come to the statement on Ukraine. I call the Foreign Secretary, David Lammy.
With permission, Mr. Speaker, I will make a statement on Ukraine. In January 2022, I visited the Wall of Remembrance of the Fallen in Kyiv with my right honourable friend, the Defence Secretary. Seeing the faces of all of those who had lost their lives since 2014 brought home the human cost of Kremlin imperialism and Ukrainian determination to stand up to it. And indeed, some weeks later, just as British and American intelligence services had warned, we awoke to news of Putin's full-scale invasion launched to shatter the sovereign state of Ukraine. Today we mark 3 years of Ukrainian courage in resisting. That brutal, illegal, unprovoked invasion. I have witnessed their fortitude firsthand on 3 visits to Kyiv over the last year. Their defiant blitz spirit as Russian missiles and drones rain down night after night after night. So on this grim anniversary, amid all the talk about talks, we must not forget that Russia's barbaric war goes on. That Ukrainian people are suffering, and beyond Europe, the conflict is piling pressure on the world's poorest too. Mr. Speaker, this debate takes place against a backdrop of intense diplomatic efforts responding, of course, to President Trump's call to bring this war to a swift end. At the G20 in South Africa last week, I listened to Sergei Lavrov. Once again, he shamelessly played the victim, rehashing the same old lies. And I will say to this House what I said in response. If Russia is serious about a lasting peace that respects Ukraine's sovereignty, Ukraine's independence, and the United Nations Charter, guarantees Ukraine's security against future aggression, rejects imperialism, then Britain will listen. No one wants this more than Ukraine. And at the Munich Security Conference, I underlined that Ukraine must be at the heart of any talks about Ukraine's future. And I said the West must learn from our history. Vladimir Putin and his war is no historical aberration. He draws on a Tsarist tradition, the imperialism and authoritarianism of Peter the Great or Nicholas I, and a Soviet tradition. He is, after all, a KGB agent who operates by deception. It was an American diplomat, Mr. Speaker, George Kennan, who warned in 1947 of a deep continuity in Kremlin thinking. It's referred to as the long telegram. He argued that they would only respond to strength, and that was the basis for the policy of containment, a part of which Britain contributed tens of thousands of troops to the British Army of the Rhine. It was this strength, not paper promises, which deterred Moscow from further advances west. Today, let us look at the Kremlin's recent record. The Helsinki Final Act of 1975, betrayed. The Budapest Memorandum of 1994, betrayed. The NATO-Russian Founding Act of 1997, betrayed. The Minsk Agreement of 2014 and 2015, betrayed. This is foreign policy by lies. And we must respond by being true to ourselves and provide the support Ukraine needs to stay strong. Because that is what is needed to secure a lasting peace and to shape our collective security so that Putin never invades again. The UK has a unique role in helping to shape and make this happen. My right honourable friend, the Prime Minister, was in Paris last week talking to our European allies about how we step up support for Ukraine, accelerate work on security guarantees, and take more responsibility for the security of our continent. And in Munich, I spoke to Vice President Vance and Secretary of State Rubio. While in Brussels, my right honourable friend, the Defence Secretary, chaired the Ukraine's Defence Contact Group, where US Defence Secretary Pete Hegseth confirmed that, like us, the US wants to see a sovereign, prosperous Ukraine. Europe must shoulder its share of the burden. With the United States and their unique capabilities, we can deter Putin from attacking Ukraine again, from escalating hybrid Russian attacks in Europe into some form of direct confrontation. So this week, the Prime Minister and I will be travelling to Washington, D.C. to meet President Trump. Ukraine needs friends and allies on both sides of the Atlantic working together to achieve peace through strength. Both President Trump and President Zelensky have spoken of their desire to achieve this. And the Prime Minister will reaffirm to Zelensky in a call today that this is Britain's goal as well. This must include European countries investing more in our own defence and capabilities. Already, the UK has stepped up and sped up military assistance. We've committed $3 billion in military aid a year, every year, for as long as it takes. And over the next 2 years, we will provide an additional